Today I will be informing my audience on why hunting is not a bad thing and should not be illegal. The reason why I'm arguing this is mostly because the PETA organization, which is the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, and anti-hunters really do think that hunting is the worst thing in the world, and they would do anything to get it to be illegal. And now, I don't really think hunting would ever become illegal, just because I do live in Wisconsin, and there are many hunters in Wisconsin who hunt yearly, all year round, So, anyways, some of my main points will be that hunting helps feed families, it lowers the risk of car accidents, and is a way of life. And like I had said, my target audience will mostly be arguing against the PETA organization and anyone who is anti-hunting. I remember when I was 12 years old and when I shot my first deer. It was such a natural high for me. And I know people argue a lot that hunting is a bad thing and it only makes animals suffer, and I get it. Sometimes animals do suffer, but that's not always the case. But I just remember I was sitting in a deer stand with my uncle, and all of a sudden a nice little 10-point buck came out, and my heart just started racing. I was so excited, and my breathing picked up, and I just could not overcome the emotions I was feeling. When I finally put my gun up and I was ready to shoot, my heart, I just could not stop. I had such an adrenaline rush. And I finally shot, and the buck went down. Didn't run, nothing. I killed it right on the spot. When we went to go pick up my buck, I was just ecstatic. And we cut up that deer, we processed the meat, and we gave the meat to our entire family. And none of that meat went to waste, and neither did the deer. That is honestly one day I will never forget for the rest of my life, and it still puts a smile on my face today. So hunting animals has been around for thousands of years, and it does help control the animal population. And hunting is a sport, and it is also a way of life, so therefore it should never become illegal. I think you should listen to me just because I know everyone does have their own opinions, and obviously my opinion is that hunting should remain legal. And I know if your opinion is completely different, that's fine, but just hear me out and then make up your mind at the end. My topic is, I feel like it's pretty relevant to my public speaking class, for one, because I think we all do live in Wisconsin, and we realize hunting in Wisconsin is a really big deal for a lot of people. It also may be relevant to different audiences because it's coming from a hunter's point of view, and I am trying to provide the audience with why hunting should be a good thing. I will mostly be trying to argue what PETA organization supporters say and anti-hunters, however. Some of the good thing hunting does help with is feeding families, and it lowers the risk of car accidents, and it is also a way of life. So many hunters hunt to feed their families and the meat that they do shoot. If you think about it, way back when cavemen, how did they survive? Well, obviously they had to hunt for their food, and they needed the meat to survive and to feed their families and, to keep warm and start fires and whatever. Without hunting, it honestly would have almost been impossible for people way back when to survive. Also, hunting for your own meat can be a lot cheaper than buying meat in a store. Because, you're cutting up your own meat, you're processing it, you're packaging your own. And I know it does take a lot more time, but overall it will save money. One thing I found from the PETA organization website, they had said that hunting might have been necessary for human survival in prehistoric times. But today most hunters stalk and kill animals merely for the thrill of it, not out of necessity. And to me, I find not funny, but a little bit, just because I know many families firsthand out there who shoot animals for their meat. I know people who will shoot does instead of that big trophy buck, because they need to feed their family. Not everybody is out there just shooting to kill whatever they see or shoot the biggest buck and, get bragging rights. Not only is hunting good for feeding families, but it also lowers the risk of motor vehicle accidents. And so my next point is that hunting wildlife does help control the animal population. So when you're driving down the road and you see a dead animal in the ditch or on the side of the road, what would you think? I mean, it's sad, definitely, don't get me wrong. But honestly, hunting does help with that, because if there was no hunting, you would see a lot more dead animals on the side of the road that are being hit by cars. The head of the Environmental Outreach and Education Program, Whit Gibbons, had said just this. Hunting is good for the environment because the hunting community ensures that wildlife populations of game species are sustainable from one generation to the next. This requires that a diversity of natural habitats be kept intact, unpolluted, and undisturbed. Hunters support all these efforts. I agree with him because, like I said before, hunting does help control the animal population, meaning that it would lower the car accident related being hit by animals. An organization called the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation argues that hunting is a major value for highway safety. For every deer hit by a motorist, hunters take 6. This to me was very interesting just because in my head I believe it to be very true. Because hunters who do successfully kill a deer in reality are saving motor vehiclists from hitting a deer on the road. Because like I said before, if you just imagine if hunting ever did become illegal, how many deer, fox, coyote, bear, possums, anything just running around wild and free would most likely increase motor vehicle accidents. And not only does hunting control wildlife populations and lower the risk of car accidents, however, hunting is a way of life. I grew up hunting, and so did my whole family, so it's just natural for me to love it. It's not just a sport to me. Like I said before, I had an adrenaline rush, so yes, I love doing it. But I do it to, help feed my family, and it's just one of my biggest passions. And honestly, there's something just about it that I cannot get enough of. The way it makes me feel when I pull the trigger, it excites me. And I honestly cannot imagine someone trying to take that away from anybody, because I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. There are millions of hunters out there who have the same experiences I do. And like I said, I just don't know why anybody would ever want to take that away. And the DNR, which is the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, makes sure there are laws and rules that need to be followed. And I will agree that not every hunter will follow these rules, and that angers me because, like I said, I am a true hunterman and I follow the rules, and it does anger me that people would not follow these rules. But overall, there are many good hunters out there that do follow these rules, and it's just good. Hunting wildlife is a way of life for many people, and I know there's most definitely pros and cons to hunting, but overall, I believe the pros definitely outshine the cons by a long shot. Hunting helps feed families and has been doing that for thousands and thousands of years. It helps control the wildlife population and control road safety. And lastly, hunting may be a sport, but is also a huge way of life for many people. And like I said before, when I shot my first deer, I was 12 years old. And it was such a natural high. The feeling you get even just by seeing wildlife is the best feeling in the world. It just makes you feel so much more connected and happy, honestly. Your heart starts beating super fast and your breathing quickens, and you cannot help it. It just happens. It's something that you cannot control, and it's a great feeling. And now I have no idea why anybody would ever want to take that away from anyone. And here's a picture of me when I was 12 years old. And I shot my first deer. It's not that, and I wasn't shooting for the huge trophy buck that PETA organization supporters would say. I was just happy to get the meat for my family, and honestly, like I said, look at my smile. I don't get why anybody would ever want to take that feeling away from someone. Thank you.